One batch, two batch, penny and dime. Hi everyone, I'm Sandrine, and in this video we're gonna talk about Daredevil Season 2. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't finished watching this season, I'm going to be talking about it all. So if you don't want to be spoiled, make sure to finish it and then come back and watch this video. Let's do it. I want to start with the opening sequence where we see some, criminals getting stopped and beat on, and we're not really seeing exactly who's doing it, but we have a pretty good idea of who it is. But I love that they start these few first minutes with someone in the shadows stopping the criminals, leading up to Matt in the church, and we're like, Daredevil! Leading to the top of the building of the church where he's looking at the city. He's a protector of the city, and you're like, oh my god, Daredevil Season 2, I'm so excited! So needless to say, it was a great way to start and a great way to jump right back in, because with this season, we don't need to establish anything. Everything has been established in Season 1, so we can just jump right into Season 2 and right into the action and right into Daredevil, and I love that. Because there's so much that happened in Season 2, like so much. I'm going to break it down by character and share my favorite moments for each one. Starting with Claire. There wasn't too much happening with Claire this season. I mean, she got a lot of traumatic stuff happening to her. Again, because of Matt. But I think the biggest event is probably her quitting her job, which means that Matt doesn't have an ally in the hospital anymore. What I'm curious about is what is going to happen with the character now. How is she going to fit into the story? I'm sure we'll see her again, and I can't wait to find out what the next step in her character's life is. My favorite moment for Claire was when Matt jumped out of the window to catch her. Yeah. That was pretty badass. Moving on to the Punisher, aka the most badass character ever. Oh my god. Frank Castle. Yeah, don't mess with him, because he'll kick your ass. No, actually, he'll kill you. Daredevil will kick your ass, and Punisher will kill you. I love how they introduce him as a character. I feel it's very much in the vein of how they like to introduce characters, where you kind of hear about them or you see them in the shadows a little bit for a while, and then finally you get to see who they are up close. So for quite a bit, we just saw this. We saw him from afar, and we saw him a little bit in the shadows. So it was just this figure that was killing people. And then the more the story got along, the closer you got into who he is and his life and what his motivation is. I think what I like the most about the Punisher is the contrast between his way and Daredevil's way. He's pretty straightforward, just, kill, 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 kill. Are you a criminal? Were you involved in killing my family? You're gonna die. I'm gonna kill you. And I think it really challenged Matt's beliefs and point of view, and I think that was an interesting dynamic between the two. I also really enjoyed the fact that their fighting styles were different. I mean, the Punisher can definitely hold his own against Daredevil, but they're fighting very differently, and they're trying to achieve a very different outcome. Speaking of different outcome, you can see the contrast in Frank Castle's way in one of my favorite moments of his, which is in the prison when Fisk locks him up with all the other inmates and he has to fight his way out to survive. What I really liked about this moment, at least that's the way I was thinking about it, is Punisher can definitely hold his own to Daredevil, if not beat him. So he should be able to kill all these guys in the prison, because Daredevil could fight his way out of this. So you're thinking, yeah, he's gonna be okay. Unfortunately, the other guy's not so much, and it's a way more brutal fight to the death. He takes no prisoner, he doesn't spare pain. It's like, you're coming after me, I'm gonna destroy you. Wilson Fisk! Fisk is back. I guess that happens far enough into the season that I kind of didn't expect him to be back, or I don't know, I forgot. I was like caught up in the story, so I'm like, oh my god, Wilson Fisk, he's back, this is amazing, and it's like connecting with the Punisher, and yeah, pretty great. I think what was interesting about Fisk is that he's becoming the Kingpin. He's definitely setting up his new empire and getting ready for his release. He's definitely still has a vision of what he wants to do in the city, and he's continuing his work in prison. My favorite moment with Fisk was when Matt goes to see him, and it's just on so many levels so brilliant because Fisk of course doesn't know who Matt really is, and he really thinks he's blind, which I always get a kick out of seeing Matt pretend like he's blind when you know he can just kind of walk. So he's just putting on this act that he already does every day. But on top of it, when Fisk gets really mad at him for threatening Vanessa and starts beating him up, you know Matt can't really do much without giving himself away. So he has to take the beating. And at the end of it, you're like, oh my God, if he only knew it was Daredevil, this is so brilliant. So many layers. Karen's pretty badass, and I think this season she's still dealing with what happened last season, but also with her secret, which we still don't really know, although we got some clues as to what it was. Maybe she was involved in some kind of accident or someone died and she feels really guilty about it, which I think is probably one of the reasons why she's connecting with Punisher and trying to find humanity in him, because I think she's trying to find humanity in her and trying to make sure that she's not a bad person. So if Frank Castle's not a bad person, he has killed people, then I'm not a bad person either. You know, it can happen. You can do bad things and still be a good person. And that's kind of the path she's on this season, I feel. And then I think we see also a passion for her in sort of investigative reporting, which lands her a job at Ben's newspaper in his office. So she's not a reporter or a researcher, and she's really good at it. My favorite moments with her was, of course, Matt and her in the rain. Oh, Swoon was waiting for this. Excited that that happened. And also, I love that Frank was the one who kind of saw through her and said, yeah, you love him. And he's the one who's pushing her back towards Matt, which I thought was funny. He's like her therapist, like, I can tell you love him. You need to hold on to this. Foggy. Now, I love the friendship between Matt and Foggy so much. So it was so heartbreaking to see that unravel completely this season. And I think that while Matt realized that what he really needs to do and his calling is being Daredevil, Foggy's calling, on the other hand, is being a lawyer, and I think we saw that very clearly this season in how brilliant he handled the trial, even standing up to the DA. I mean, he's good. And that's why it makes sense why such a big firm would want to go after him, which creates an Easter egg for Jessica Jones, because Jerry Hogarth from Marvel's Jessica Jones' series is inviting him to her firm. I would love to see Foggy and Jessica Jones take on some cases, or who knows, this is gonna be an interesting cross there. My favorite moment with Foggy was towards the beginning of the season when he runs on the roof and he's trying to find Matt because Matt hasn't come home, and you see sort of the panic, like this is his worst fear coming true, and he finds Matt, which I was like, oh my God, Matt is really there on the roof, and he's just like, oh my God, this is, you know, he's dead, or the worst case scenario has happened almost. That was really, really good, powerful moment. Elektra / the Black Sky. What? I'll admit, I wasn't a big fan of the character at first, but then towards the end, when the whole mythology came out and we saw her as a kid and all of that happening, I'm like, whoa, I like her way more now. To the point where when they kill her off, I'm like, wait, what? No, I started liking her now. You can't kill her. But you know, she's not dead, but we'll talk about that later. So Elektra definitely became a much bigger character than anticipated, and I can't wait to see what comes next in season 3 with her, because wow. My favorite moment for Elektra was when she's on the roof with Matt towards the end. Matt is telling her, you know, if we make it out of this, I'll go with you, we'll leave, we'll be together, and she's really, I think it would have been easy for her to say yes at that moment, but she does tell Matt, you wouldn't be happy This is not who you are. You don't want to run away and be on the run. You want to be in this city. This is you. This is what you need to do. And I think also part of her is probably wondering, does he really mean it? Or is he just trying to get through this or give me courage? And I think that conversation also has an impact on Matt and what he decides to do after that. Stick is back and still as douchey as the first season. But Stick also gave us quite a few reveals, including about the hen, the black sky, the chased, who he is. So Stick has a mission, and I think that mission is not done yet. So he'll probably be back in season 3. My favorite moment with Stick, and I guess that could count also as favorite moment for Elektra, is when we see the backstory of her as a kid fighting and he's training her and protecting her, and wow, that was really, really cool to see Elektra as a kid and how powerful she already was at the time. And you know, that Stick really did try to protect her, and I think you can see that he had some attachment to her, because he could have just simply killed her, but he cared for her, and I think he was also hoping that maybe she could come to their side, which, you know, he sort of was right. And Matt/Daredevil, who's, according to the Punisher, one bad day away from becoming him. So Matt had a lot of struggles this season, pulled in a lot of different directions, a lot of different point of views, struggling with what he wants, who he is, who does he love, what does he want to be. It was great for us, not for Matt. I think that this season helped Matt realize what he really wanted to do, and he really wants to be Daredevil. I think it's just a need in him. It's just what makes him feel alive. He has to do it, and he can't just walk away from things. So he's embracing Daredevil, and I think season 3 will be full-on Daredevil, which I can't wait. My favorite moments with Daredevil were the Dogs of Hell fight in the hallway, in the stairway. Yeah, it was another hallway scene. So freaking good, where he's about to get away and then he sees that old man come out of his apartment who's about to get assaulted, and he's like, damn it, I just can't do it. Has to go help him. And he still has the gun, which he shoots. Even Daredevil can't resist shooting the gun, but the gun only had 1 bullet, which he already shot. And I love that little smirk and laugh that he has when he's like, huh, yeah, I'm not supposed to shoot the gun. And so he goes back to what he does best, and just fighting and knocking people out. And another favorite moment of mine was when Matt can't hear the hen's ninjas, especially when they put their swords away. And Stick starts talking to him and explaining the trick. Listen to their breathing, they have to breathe. And then Matt is back, able to fight. And that leads us to cliffhangers, starting with the blacksmith. I don't think we know who it is, really. I think Colonel Schoonover is probably the closest to being the blacksmith, but it was never really confirmed, and somehow I don't think it's him. So that mystery is still kind of open, and I'm guessing Frank will be trying to figure out who it is and kill them. Especially since he went back into his house to get a CD that had Micro on it. So there's a bigger mystery going on there, which could have something to do with Kandahar, since they kept talking about what happened there. So season 3, mystery to solve. Let's hope we eventually get an answer. Elektra is not dead. First of all, yes, because like I said, I was just starting to like her when they killed her, so. But the bad news is the hen has her, and she's in that stone coffin, probably being fed that blood from those people. Ugh. Not a good place for her to be, which means also the hen will now be all powerful since they have Black Sky. And of course, the biggest cliffhanger ever, I'm Daredevil. No, you did not just do this to me, Daredevil. You did not just have Matt tell Karen he's Daredevil and end it there. Who does that? Who does that? Seriously. So now we have to wait for season 3 to see how she's gonna react to this whole thing, and if they're gonna be together, and then how is that gonna work? Oh my god, I'm freaking out. best way, I guess, to end the season, but I hate it. I love it and I hate it. And those were all my thoughts for Daredevil season 2. Quite a lot of things to discuss, as I mentioned, but such an amazing season. I love this season even more than season 1, and I loved season 1, so that's saying something. If it keeps going like this, season 3 is gonna be like mind-blowing, so I'm just excited. I've binge watched the season. It was amazing. Loved it. And that's all. But of course, those were my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you guys and how you enjoyed Daredevil season 2. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention? What are some of your favorite moments? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our other TV related videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye. I also wanted to talk about costumes because we got quite a few of them this season. First of all, Daredevil's costume has been upgraded. It's so much better than the reveal from season 1. I'm glad it changed it. It actually looks pretty badass this season because last season was like, it was okay. And a costume, of course, means that Melvin was back. I love Melvin so much. And he created a billy club for Matt as a present. Just like, you know, you're taking care of us, so I'm gonna take care of you. And it's like, Melvin, stop it, you're making me cry. He also made some sort of costume for Elektra, which we saw in the final episode. I don't think that's her final costume if she's gonna get one, but still it was nice, kind of towards the direction of what her costume will be, probably. And of course, the Punisher got the Punisher costume with a big coat, the skull on his t-shirt. Looked pretty badass, actually. And I love that we got a hint of the costume coming after the fight in the prison when you had the reflection in that puddle and you saw the skull on his white shirt out of blood. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, loving the costumes this season.